Everyone, it's Nina Collins here at the Wolfer, and I'm here today with Alicia Jackson, the founder. Are you the sole founder, Alicia? I think
The sole founder.
Sole founder of Evernow, which is one of quite a few fabulous new telemed companies for menopause. And Alicia is distinctive in all sorts of ways, and we're going to learn how. And so, welcome. I'm really glad to have you here.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited.
It's such a funny moment, as we were talking about before, with the whole menopause world, right? It's like there are communities and blogs and products and Instagram accounts. And the telemed world, as you know, I mean, our listeners also know because I talk about it a lot. I feel like it's such a good idea for menopause because a lot of people live in like remote places, like I mean, not even that remote, but wherever, Iowa, where you might have a harder time even finding a menopause specialist. I mean, it's hard enough to find a menopause specialist in New York. So all around the country. So I think it really makes sense. So can you tell us a little bit about like when you started it, why you started it, what kind of service you offer?
Yeah, I'd love to. I always like to say this is not the company I planned on starting. Given my science background, hard science PhD, I thought I'd be running, a deep tech biotech company right now focused on fertility. And it was really during my journey of understanding the fertility world that I came across the topic of menopause, particularly looking at women who'd gone through chemotherapy and gone through early menopause and the impact that had on their health.
Mm-hmm.
And as I got deeper into it, began to realize, wait a second, this isn't just an issue for women who are going through a premature menopause due to a medical event. It's an issue for all women.
It's an issue for a third of the population at any given time.
Exactly. And then wait a second, nobody's ever talked to me about this. And it's coming down the road towards me. And holy cow, it's connected with all these other health issues. I just was blown away that we weren't talking about it as society.
So
we're not prepared for it.
You have a PhD in biochemistry?
In material science and engineering, which is essentially chemistry, physics, biotech.
Very cool. So you were in your 30s at this point, presumably. You'd gotten this degree, you were doing all this work, and you were really surprised.
I was really surprised. And I, believe it or not, I was going through IVF myself. Mm-hmm. And, so dealing in very large amounts of hormones and talking to my fertility doctor, a reproductive endocrinologist. And interestingly enough, he was the one who said, the minute I said I was thinking about doing a company in the menopause space, said, oh my gosh, yes, you have to do this. It's completely unaddressed. None of the women in my family know how to find care. I end up doing it for them. And, that also blew me away. What, are you kidding me? I would never think to go to my reproductive endocrinologist treating me for fertility issues to deal with menopause.
No, it's really shocking how little hormonal health in general is dealt with really well. And one of my daughters is having a hormonal issue, and it's so hard to find good help. So, and yeah, it's absolutely true. I mean, as we all know now, menopause is going to happen to all of us, and we're not prepared. And when it hits us, we often have a really hard time finding the right help. So how long ago did you start Evernow? You went out and raised money to do it?
We did. I started the company a little over 2 years ago, literally just myself, no business plan, no nothing, but had worked on the company for quite a while, understanding what the business model could be. And we came to understanding that telemedicine could be just the perfect thing for menopause, not only because of people in remote areas having a hard time finding somebody near them, but as you said, no matter where you are, having a hard time finding a real expert in this space. And number two, women at this stage of life are super busy. They don't have time to schedule an appointment 4 weeks out, rearrange their entire schedule, their kids' schedule, their parents' schedule, if they're taking care of their parents, their husband's schedule, whatever it is. And so they really need something that's convenient and wrapped around them.
Yeah, no, that's really true. So we've talked to, there are various telemed companies, some of which have gone out of business, like MD, what were they called? Curie MD.
Curie MD, the Cusp.
And then there are some that we know of that are still doing, chugging along, like Genève. So I'm curious how you see yourself in this landscape, and how do you differ or not? And kind of how you see the business. I mean, it's such a brand new field, right? And because of
Yes.
COVID, people are much more open to telemedicine, which is awesome. So I imagine that's going to help you. But also talking about menopause in general is it's so new the way people are really talking about it. So
Mhm.
you're really kind of a pioneer, which is exciting.
So really exciting. And I mean, the awesome thing about this space is because it's all women, there's a lot of room for a lot of different companies cover differing parts of the journey or position for different women and what they want.
Yeah, I totally agree.
I
Competition is
think
good. It just means there's a need, really.
very, very much. And that's exactly how we feel. I think what we see in a lot of the landscape right now is we see some very strong companies on the content side that are very much focused on, opening up that conversation, educating women,
Right.
helping them understand what
Like Electra.
perimenopause.
Like I think Electra started as telemed, but now they seem to just be doing
Yeah.
menopause messaging, basically. I'm not sure.
Yes.
But okay, sorry, go ahead.
And no, that's a perfect segue. And what we like started out to do and continue to do, and has worked very well for us, is really a bias towards getting women the access that they need to care and treatment. And we made that our sole focus right from the beginning. And partially that's because of my background as a scientist and caring a lot about getting the treatments that women need to them. And so we've just very much focused on the action-oriented part of the puzzle.
Yeah, and when you go to your website, you immediately see the patch, right? Which I'm
Yeah.
wearing right now. And it's actually kind of refreshing to see it like that because you don't see it anywhere. And for the first few years, I'm 51 now, but I started this whole process at 46. And for a few years, everyone was like, you should go in the patch, you should go in the patch. And I resisted. I finally went on it, I guess 2 years ago. It's really saved me. I sleep like a baby. But you kind of have no idea like what it is and what it looks like and how do you use
Yes.
it, and the whole changing it twice a week. And so it's actually nice to just see it on your website. I really appreciate that. So is the bulk of your business kind of the patch and progesterone? Is that mostly what you're helping women with?
It is. And that's for a couple of reasons. One, we decided to focus on the most effective treatments. And I mean, hands down, there's nothing that even comes close to estrogen, particularly estradiol, which is the safest form of estrogen, and particularly the transdermal kind that you would get from a patch or a cream that you apply to your skin. By far the best way to take estrogen for most women. And then obviously taking progesterone if you still have your uterus and are taking estrogen at the same time.
Right.
But I would say, and we find women coming to us seeking it, saying, I want this. And if they qualify for it, if they are healthy, if our medical team decides they're a good candidate, that's our top thing
You're
we
kind of
prescribe.
go-to if it fits. And
Yes.
so how many doctors do you have on staff, and how does it work for the typical client? Are you serving people in every state? Walk us through kind of, and also some of these telemed companies have memberships and some pay by visit. So what's your process?
Yes. Yes. So we cover over 70% of the US, and our goal is to be in 100% of the US within the next 6 months. We have a team of rock star OBGYNs, NAM certified, gone through all the training, have been in private practice.
NAM, for anyone who doesn't know, is North American Menopause Society. And
yes, really- it is a very rigorous test to go through to become NAM certified. And so we have 5 of those. And then we also have a team of expert nurse practitioners who practice with us as well, some of whom are NAM certified as well. And I will tell you, they're a rock star team. I've sent my own mother to them. And that's basically my bar, which is I have to feel comfortable sending my own mother to them. And I can say confidently they're phenomenal. How it works is this a membership model. So a woman will come onto our website. She'll go through a comprehensive health intake. So she'll talk about everything from basic height and weight. When was her last period? What are her current symptoms? How severe are they? Any sort of other medication she might be taking, et cetera. And then based on that information, we recommend if she's a candidate or not for treatment from Evernow. Not all women are are our customers.
Right.
Some women should be going to their in-person provider because they have things that need to be checked out.
Right. So what if a woman says that her mother died of breast cancer? What do you guys do with that patient?
We ask more questions.
Mhm. Mhm.
We need to understand, is she BRCA positive? And then we might have a longer conversation with her. And it really is a case by case basis on that front, and help her understand what if she wants to go on a hormonal therapy, what is that risk profile? I will tell you, having a mother who had breast cancer is not a contraindication. It doesn't block you from being on a hormonal therapy. It just might mean we need to talk to you about it, and you should understand your own risk profile and risk tolerance.
Yeah, exactly. My mom died of breast cancer, so that's why I was resistant for a while. And doctors kept saying you should just go on this low dose patch. And knock on wood, so far I'm glad I'm on it. Okay, so it's a membership, and how much does it cost? And is it monthly, annual?
It's a monthly fee right now. Depending on the treatment that you're on, we'll either put you on a $129 per month membership or a $75 per month membership.
And that includes the doctor visit and the medication?
It includes your doctor visit, unlimited communication 24/7 with your doctor, the medication, any medication adjustments, all inclusive, all in one.
That's great. That's great. And then you can cancel it at any time. So women do it. And then,
Yes.
I mean, you do need to kind of be monitored, or at least you need refills, and you need to,
we follow up, especially in those first 2 months when you first start our hormonal therapy. You may have some side effects that you have questions about, especially if it's been a little while through your menopause journey. And you can imagine if suddenly you're on estrogen again, you might suddenly have tender breasts or something like that as you get used to the estrogen again. And we'll follow up weekly. And then, of course, at least every month we check in and say, hey, how are things going? Are you having any other symptom? Is there anything else that we can help with?
That sounds great. And are you doing any other, you're not doing psychological counseling, you're not providing any other kind of healthcare? It's very focused.
Very focused right now on menopause, because as you know, that's encompassing enough and something that we can be laser focused on for all women. And then obviously we can down the road start to think about other areas that we can branch out into.
And are you thinking yet about other products? And not that you should, I'm just curious, just so our listeners know everything you offer, like sleep products. I mean, obviously hormones really help with sleep, so you probably don't need to, or skin care, nothing. You're very focused on menopause symptoms and medical treatment for it.
We are. Yes.
Right. Okay, I think that's really smart.
But obviously women come to us, or maybe not obviously, we hear from our patients, I'm not sleeping, or I am having this skin issue. And we will, of course, counsel our patients about what else they can do about that.
Yeah, yeah. And what about on your website, it mentions the Evernow menopause study. What was that study?
So since we launched, we've had over 40,000 women come through the platform. And that turns out to be a phenomenal data source for really getting a picture of menopause at all stages, whether it be perimenopause, menopause, or postmenopause. And because of how we designed this study, we were able to take very structured data, use a verified symptom scale, and be able to correlate everything from how do women with hysterectomies experience menopause? Or, for example, well, do the symptoms of perimenopause really differ from those of menopause? And so we were able to kind of get this very in-depth insights as to what's normal, what's not normal, how does menopause change over time, how do the symptoms change over time, what treatments are effective. So we have amazing data on showing how, for example, hormonal therapies are not just effective against things like hot flashes, night sweats, insomnia, but they can be highly effective for things like depression and anxiety, which I think was super interesting.
Yeah, it is really interesting and true, I think. I mean, I feel so much better since I've been on the hormones. And yeah, I was really resistant, and I sleep so well. It's unbelievable.
Yes. I think, Lisa Mosconi, a great researcher in this field, has such a good line talking about, we all think about menopause as starting in the ovaries, but really the impact is in the brain.
Yeah,
And
she's the one who's done all the brain research, right? In the
she has, and it's so true. That's why you have insomnia. That's why you might have anxiety or depression.
Mm.
It's all linked back to the brain.
That is actually a really good way of framing it. I haven't heard that, but that's really smart. And also,
Yeah.
I think, I mean, I hope that it helps with, heart stuff. Also, I mean, who knows?
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
seems like it might be a good idea for a while. Although they recommend people not stay on it for more than, I hear mixed numbers, right? 5 to 10 years, depending on your health profile. And I guess for women over 60, they wouldn't start it. You have to kind of start it younger. You have to start it right around.
In general, yes, because of the fact that during that menopausal transition, your body at the biological level does shift.
Mhm.
And so you don't want to give estrogen after that shift has occurred. You want to give it earlier before the shift occurs.
Got it. Got it. Yeah. Fabulous. All right. Well, this has been so great, Alicia. Thank you so much. It's really good to learn about Evernow. Everyone should check it out. The website is evernow.com. It's very easy to find. And tell your friends, because it really is kind of game changing for people for whom they're comfortable taking hormones, for whom it's deemed safe. There's been a lot of controversy, obviously, over the years about hormones, and it really, the bottom line seems to have shifted now. So thank you very much. I really appreciate talking to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Nina.
All right. Take care, Alicia.